I'm Weronika. I'm 27 and I'm an education support officer with the local council. I moved to Scotland in May 2005 and that's almost 17 years ago. And my parents moved to Scotland a year before me, so I was living with my auntie and uncle for a year before I came across. My parents weren't too sure what their experience would be like, and they didn't want to bring a child into that, so they felt they wanted me to stay in Poland for another year before I came across. I didn't speak any English at all, so my parents knew that we'd be moving over here, and during the year that they were here, I had extra tuition at my school, so I was in P5 at the time. But I felt that when I came over here, it wasn't any help at all. I think my English teacher at the time, she was learning English through a book. So when I came over here, what she taught me just wasn't what I was hearing from the other kids and everything. So I just had to pick everything up as I went along at school. So I was really happy to be reunited with my family and my parents obviously, and my sister came over a couple of months before me, so I was really happy to see them. I was excited to be like living in a new place. I was 11, only coming 12, so it was all the excitement of meeting new people and going new places, but at the same time I was really anxious, starting a new school again, not knowing the language, so I was thrown in the deep end, like trying to learn it all and just making sure I would fit in. So it was a mix of emotions, really. So I was given loads of support through my school and my teachers, both at primary level and secondary, as I went to both when I came over here. And I went to like extra English classes, and during really like working in classes or exams and that, you know, the teachers were really helpful, as they obviously knew that I was just learning English. So all that kind of support for me was really helpful. But I think seeing it from my parents' side, like point, with them also like learning the language as they came here, I think as an adult it's much different, because obviously you go to work and that's really it, you're there to do your job. It depends probably from each employer if they want to give these people a hand or not. So I think maybe like extra support when you're in your adult life, where I had the opportunity to transition from being a teenager into adult life, and I think I already had kind of taken that support through school and taken it into my adult life. So the town I stayed in before coming to Scotland was very similar size, kind of similar people that lived in it. So the community in Scotland was I found it really quite welcoming. I sometimes found it quite hard at school with some of the kids, but again, I think that's wherever you are. If you're somebody that's special or different to everybody else in the community, you know, that sometimes can get pointed out. But apart from that, I found that, you know, I settled in quite quickly, because I think you adapt much quicker when you're a child, rather than I know some of the experiences my parents had being adults. But yeah, I think quite similar, to be honest. I think I was so I went into P7 when I came over here, and I think because I knew it was only going to be 1 year of primary, and then I learnt that the friends I've made at the time weren't coming to secondary with me. I think that made me feel quite unsettled, because then I had to go to a bigger school. But I think I felt quite settled kind of middle of first year at secondary, when I made friends and I kind of knew my way about the school and what was expected of me as a student and that. So I think, yeah, it took a while to settle down, but it's, you know, been 17 years later, and I just feel like I don't see myself as being different to anybody else. I don't think so. I think the tip I would give anybody would be to be quite open-minded about making friends outside of your community. I didn't make many friends with Polish people, which was probably looked quite weird at the time. But I think for you to try and settle down, you do need to make friends with people who stay here, and loads of people will help out to make you feel settled. And I think I'm happy how my life progressed with the way it all started out. Yes, so I supported all of my family members and some of their friends as well that came over here. Because I was only 11, 12, I picked up the language really quickly. Where like my parents and my sister, etc., they struggled more just with being older. So I would support them at the bank, phoning different companies, going to the shop, going to the doctor. So I knew like ins and outs of everything really. Even things like to do with school, I would be able to kind of excuse myself to go to doctor's appointments and things like that, because they knew I needed to translate for my parents. And I was always trying to kind of help out anybody I could. Even through my work, I've been asked a couple of times to translate some of the documents into Polish, or to speak to somebody who maybe doesn't know the language so well. Or even we've sometimes had parents calling in through my actual work, and if I knew they were Polish, I would ask them in Polish if it was easier for them to speak to me in Polish rather than English, and they would be so surprised. Just to be able to help people out a wee bit. The advice I would give is if you're given help, take it. Honestly, don't feel embarrassed or anything like that, because like everybody's been in a situation where somebody needs a hand. And if you're given the opportunity to learn English, do it, because it'll make it so much easier in life, trying to find work or make friends, or trying, if you've got kids, kind of things like that. So definitely don't be scared to accept help. So I've actually finished school in S4, so I didn't stay on longer, but I did some extra classes through school and also at the college, which I think they still do that. You can roll on to that, and that's for extra English. And also through my work, I did extra training through that.